We have hockey back. As the Rangers, in 5 games, 7 points right now. They're playing great hockey early in the season. And the New York Islanders, 4 games in, 2-2, 4 points. The Devils, 2-2, 4 points. As the Islanders and the Devils trying to keep up with the Rangers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Carolina Hurricanes, and yes, Philadelphia Flyers, which was my surprise team this year. Remember that, my friend over there with the Rangers, writing Anthony Scolpari. Now, finally, I went opposite of you. I remember 2 years ago, you had Philadelphia to be your surprise team. He sucked 2 years ago. And now, my surprise team this year, the Philadelphia Flyers. Torts! Yes, Tortorella is now coaching the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm very excited as my Islanders are still keeping good pace. As the Rangers play the Islanders on Wednesday at the UBS Arena, I will be there. I will be enjoying it and hopefully see a win. The Beeve making fun of them and poking them in the back as the Islanders score and win the game. We'll see what happens, but it's early. The Rangers are dialing on all cylinders. They're scoring goals, 19 goals and 15 goals against, which is very high for the Rangers. Last year, they had one of the best goals against averages in the NHL. I think they were third in the NHL.
Yeah, they were third. Only the Flames and the Hurricanes were better in the regular season.
And right now, the Rangers are not playing very well as far as goals against. The Islanders are, and we expect this. They're going to have a better season this year. I know Barry Trotz isn't there, but Lambert is trying to open up the scoring for them, figure out ways that they can put the puck in the net. And they are. They're scoring a little bit more goals, even though they didn't get the offensive player they wanted in the offseason. But they're trying to find their way out of this Metropolitan Division. But the Rangers and the Islanders playing good hockey, and I expect this to be a close race all the way to the end this year. I think the Islanders will start to figure out who they are as an organization and a team. I think Sorokin is the guy. He should be playing the majority of the games. If you're an Islander fan, you should be excited. If you're a Ranger fan, you should be excited.
The Rangers, you're right about the defense. They've been a little iffy so far against a lot of those Western Conference teams. Yeah. Struggled against Winnipeg, trouble with Anaheim. Come out a little passive so far. I think Adam Fox has been a little down for his standards to start the season, a little rusty. I think the younger guys have played better. Keandre Miller, I think, has played well. Shesterkin is not on the Vezina Trophy form yet, but he still played all right. Offensively, though, they've been very good. Artemi Panarin already with 11 points to start the season. 3 goals, 8 assists in 5 games.
The Beeve wanted to trade him last year.
Yeah, I remember that. Zibanejad as well, 4 goals, 4 assists. And Trocheck, 2 goals, 4 assists, a new Ranger. Very impressed with them so far offensively, but yeah, defensively, a little rusty to start the season. As far as the Islanders, yes, Sorokin, 2.05 goals against, save percentage, 935.
1-2. That just shows you how good he's played in the first 3 games of the season. No matter what he does in the net, the Islanders need to score goals in front of him. That's the only way that they're going to win. Sorokin will do his job, and he will be up for a Vezina Trophy this year. Last year, he was a borderline Vezina Trophy nominee. That was from a team that wasn't playing well in the beginning of the season. The only bright spot the Islanders had was their goaltender in Sorokin. So this year, if he continues playing at this pace, we're going to be talking about him winning the Vezina Trophy or one of the lead guys to win the Vezina Trophy. The Islanders need to find a way to score goals. The other night against the Devils, losing 4-1, you cannot lose against the Devils. You're a better team. You can't blame anything on the goaltending. I think the goaltending has done its part. You need offense. They need to find a way to put the puck in. And if the Islanders do that, I think they'll compete with the better teams in the Metropolitan Division. If they don't, there's going to be a problem.
For the Islanders, skaters, though, you got to love 2 things with that. Oliver Wahlstrom, 3 goals already. Banged up throughout the preseason. And
we know how good Wahlstrom's going to be.
Yeah. Robin Salo, 2 goals as well to start the season. Noah Dobson with 4 points already offensively and playing some great defense as well.
Yes.
So Blaine Lambert is getting the most out of these youngsters so far.
Why do you think they fired Barry Trotz? Because Barry Trotz wasn't helping the younger players develop. He is more of an older guy. He likes pushing the older players out there, and it wasn't really solving any of the problems for the weaknesses of the New York Islanders, which they want speed and they want youth. And now you're seeing that with the younger players, the Wallstroms, the Dobsons, the Salos, the Sorokins. Lamoriello wants to see the youngsters develop. He believed that Lambert was going to transition this team for a better movement moving forward in the Metropolitan Division, a very good Metropolitan Division.
Right, and even the pace, even when Trotz was there, when the Islanders were ranking all those conference finals, their pace stats were like 27th. They were still one of the slower teams in the league. Mm-hmm. So now they're getting it up there, where at least if their league average with that defense and goaltending could be getting more scoring. And they got 14 goals in 4 games, which is almost 4 goals a game. That's pretty good.
They're going to start winning because even if they don't score as many goals as the other teams, with this defense, and they have a very good defense, they have 6 quality defensemen, and they're young. This is a young defense. This team is going to be together for the next 4 to 5 years. This defensive pairing, Mayfield is the only kid in this defensive pairing that could be a free agent after this year. And they might decide to bring him back.
He's still a 28, I think. Like, he's the oldest one.
But they still have a pretty good farm system with pretty good young defensemen right now in Bridgeport. So if they do lose somebody like Mayfield in free agency, they still have a ton of talent right now in their farm system that they can bring up. So if you're an Islander fan, that is something that you want, because if you want to build your team around young defense and good goaltending, you'll have a very good chance of winning in the playoffs. If somehow the Islanders sneak in as a wild card team this year, which a lot of people believe that they could, watch out. Nobody's going to want to play this team.
Islander fans love my pick. I had them at the start of the season, the first wild card team, playing against the Leafs and beating the Leafs in the playoffs.
And they will beat the Leafs. They absolutely will.
Islanders at 7.
The way this team could really align up, and maybe Lamoriello finds that goal scorer that they need at the trade deadline. You've seen Lamoriello. He has been the bright spot of finding players at the trade deadline. 2-time GM of the year for the New York Islanders in the 5 years that he has been there. He understands where this team could be and what this team should be when it comes down to the trade deadline. If the Islanders are competitive and they're right there on the seam of the playoffs, watch. Lamoriello's going to make one move that could really brighten up this team and move this team forward in the playoffs. So I'm excited. Both New York teams could be very fun to watch this year. Expect it to be all the way down to the wire, and I can't wait. I'm praying. Last time I went with the Beef to watch the Rangers and the Islanders play at the Nassau Coliseum, we lost his car for an hour and 15 minutes in a parking lot. This time, ladies and gentlemen, it's at the UBS. There's not much of a parking lot, so I'm sure we'll find his car unless Beef is really that dumb. Again, he could be, but it'll be fun. We're going to be very close by the ice and the glass, and the fans are fantastic over there. Even the Islander fans, they're really, really cool. I can't go to Madison Square Garden, but the Island fans are really, really cool, and they're not going to beat up Mike. As far as the basketball season, I'm very excited. If you're a Knicks fan right now, you should be excited for what you see. Cam Reddish is having a very good early season. You see why Jalen Brunson, the Knicks wanted to bring him here to be their star point guard. He's playing great basketball. Derrick Rose looks healthy. RJ Barrett looks like it's taking him a little while to figure things out. I know it's only 2 games in. Julius Randle might be back to the old Julius Randle, having almost triple-double game number 1. This team could be competitive this year and could be a playoff team and could surprise a lot of people. I think they're a piece away from being a contender, maybe 2 pieces away. It all depends on what Julius Randle is and if they can move Julius Randle when the time comes. But if you're a Knicks fan, whatever I've seen so far, it's early. Knocking off the Pistons the way they did in their first game at Madison Square Garden, the biggest win the Knicks have had at Madison Square Garden in almost 20 years. It's pretty amazing. Tom Thibodeau wants this team to think defense like in year 1 where they were the number 1 defense in almost every category. The Knicks weren't the top number 1 defense like they were throughout the season in year 1. So if they could get back to that 1 and 2 in the league in almost every single category, then you're talking about a team that could be a 5 or 6 seed where they could be dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you're looking at even the first game against the Grizzlies, even though they lost. I mean, that's through regulation. Not a lot of points allowed against a very talented Grizzlies offense, and they really took over that game in the fourth quarter, but the Knicks were really dominating the whole that. Through 3 quarters, they only allowed 80-something points, and that's a good sign for that defense, too. And against the Pistons, who a lot of people love as off-season surprise team, as a potential playoff team this year, maybe like the Cavs of this year type thing and the Hawks of 2 years ago. They shut the Pistons down, too. Only 25 points in the fourth quarter, so that defense definitely showing. Now, we were talking about younger players getting minutes with the Islanders, and we've seen it now with the Knicks a little bit more with Cam Reddish, who got 19 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
Like you were saying.
Scored over 20 points.
Obi Toppin getting 21 minutes. He scored 16 points, a plus 25 for that game.
I want to see these guys play more.
And that's the big key for Tom Thibodeau, where last year he was overusing the veterans too much, and they looked very inefficient in those instances. RJ Barrett played a lot better with the younger players as a result. Now, inefficiency still hurting him a little. He was 9 for 25 shooting in that first game. Much better in the second game against Detroit, 8 for 15. Julius Randle scoring a lot, but still kind of inefficient, but almost at a triple-double, so it's something you like to see out of him. And Jalen Brunson definitely spacing and stabilizing this offense a lot more.
He's going to change this offense. You heard from Julius Randle, because Julius Randle was complaining that he was bringing the ball up a lot last year. So was RJ Barrett. Now you have a point guard that actually could bring the ball up, control the point guard position, and open up the court for some of their good players. So when you have a good point guard, it makes it so much easier for the other players to do the things that they're good at. So if you're a Knicks fan, good. Now, as far as the Brooklyn Nets fans are concerned, there's a lot of concerns with this team. And it's not because of the talent that they have on their team, because they have talent. They have arguably the best player in the NBA on that team when healthy. What scares me about this Brooklyn Nets team, and they're 1-1 right now, it's early in the season, is the deficiency of what this defense could be this year. This is not a good defensive team. And what happens when your best players can't score? What happens if Kevin Durant can't put up a 30? Kyrie Irving can't put up a 25, 7, and 6. What then for the Brooklyn Nets? Because Steve Nash already has said about our friend Benny Simmons, he has already said that he doesn't care if he hits a jump shot. He just wants for him to play his game. Is he going to say that about all the players? Just play your game, which is not defense. And if this team don't play defense in this Eastern Conference, they're not going to be an elite team. They need to play defense, and they need to find some kind of points. I'm not talking about 6 or 7 points from Ben Simmons. I'm talking about 15 to 17 points a game from Ben Simmons if they plan to win, because the LeBron James Cavaliers, they got 17 points from our friend Kevin Love and the rebounding. They got Kyrie Irving, which was averaging 24 points a game, and then LeBron James averaging 30. Same thing with Miami. Dwayne Wade was averaging 25 points. LeBron was averaging close to 30. And Chris Bosh averaging about 17. You need that third option to give you at least 15 to 17 points. If he doesn't give you that, where are you going to get those points? From your bench? Give me a break. That bench doesn't shoot out to me from the Celtics of the 90s. This is not a good bench. This is not a prolific offense. And if they don't get at least that many points from their stars, this will be a problem moving forward this season.
Well, you want Ben Simmons to score double-digit points. Well, so far that has not been the case. It's been 4 points and 6 points so far for Ben Simmons.
Fantastic.
But he's actually playing. He's finally playing 23 minutes and 32 minutes, but still not great. But yeah, you mentioned it with Kyrie Irving. In a game when he only had 15 points against the Pelicans that first game, the Nets only scored collectively 108 points against the Pelicans offense that scored 130 and is an offensive juggernaut with McCollum and Ingram and Zion having that great game.
Zion is a beast.
Yeah.
Zion is going to be beastly. This year, if he stays healthy, he will be an MVP candidate. You heard it from me. He will be an MVP candidate this year. That's how good Zion is. Pelicans just gave him that extension. But I still believe that he's going to demand his way out. He got his money, as well as he should. But he is not staying there with the Pelicans. He wants to go to a big city. His parents, himself, he wants to build his brand in a big city. His two closest friends are playing in New York together, Cam Reddish and R.J. Barrett. So I'm not saying this because I'm a Knicks fan. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Zion will demand his way out of the Pelicans, especially if this team don't make the playoffs this year with C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram, who's fantastic, by the way. Could you imagine the duo that they have and McCollum being your third option? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Watch out for the Pelicans.
Going back to the Nets, though, even in the second game that they did end up winning, though, it was mainly all Kyrie and Durant scoring. Kyrie had 37 assists, Durant had 27, 5, and 6, and their next highest scorer was Nick Claxton, who had a double-double, 19 and 11, and barely any guys in double-digit points, including Ben Simmons, who only had 6. So it's still not getting a lot of depth from that. They're a very star-driven team, and the biggest thing the Nets have to avoid throughout the season is just all the drama they had to deal with in the offseason. If they can do that, they could be a top 5 seed in the East, maybe, but even so, there's still a lot of flaws on this team, especially when it comes to depth and when it comes to defense. Even against Toronto, who's not a prolific offensive team, is still allowing 105 points.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, watch out for Brandon Ingram. He's scary good, too. Look at his first 2 games, averaging 28, 8, and 6. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's playing better than Zion Williamson. People forget how good Brandon Ingram was. He should have never been traded. The Lakers are going to regret that.
You got your championship, but now they're not on a good path either.
I mean, who would you rather right now? Anthony Davis, Brandon Ingram. I'm taking Brandon Ingram.
I'll take the guy that stays healthy, yeah.
I'm going to take the younger guy and the guy that is starting to develop. Okay, it took him a little while,
right?
But he's developing into a star. Pelicans is set up really, really good. I mean, they're better than the Grizzlies now that Zion Williamson is healthy.
They definitely could be.
I mean,
if Zion plays even 70 games,
Zion's playing the whole season, man. He looks great. He looks like he's in shape. He's moving up and down the court. He's playing 25 to 27 minutes a game. That's what you want to see from your star. I'm telling you, watch out for this Pelican team. This team is going to be fun. The Minnesota Timberwolves of last year, but better.
Ooh, all right.
But better.
Well, yeah, now they have a full season to put it together. Like they were the, I think, third best record in the Western Conference in the second half. They got them to the 8th seed in the
without
play-in game.
Zion Williamson.
Right, and now they get a full season of it with McCollum and Zion, if he stays healthy, playing a lot.
I'm telling you, this is going to be a fun basketball season. There's going to be a lot of surprises coming out of the Western Conference. You're going to see a lot of surprises because I see the Pelicans, I see the Grizzlies again dominating. I believe Memphis will add another piece to the puzzle at the trade deadline. They're going to help John Moran out.